is something which just kind of tolerates you for a short while. You think you're in control, but you never really are.
Emfuleni ku-challenging ngoba funeka ube nebhalansi ungafa nokufa xa ungana-experience xa ungafundisanga ama-basic rules.
There's an amazing kind of oneness with man and water. You're aware of all of the elements around you.
Ukuqala kwami ukudla no-Piers kwakuyinto endingazi ukuba kuzokwenzakalani phambili. Kodwa sagwedla sobabini.
We were just two guys wanting to compete in a race, wanting to do the best that we could do. It didn't matter where we came from or what our differences were. We had a common goal. It didn't even need to be said. We just knew it.
He's got a radio with him.
There's our front marker, please.
Yeah, everyone line your boats up. 62 and 164, slate 4, 5, 6, take one.
Mark.
Action!
Beyond the River is a South African feature film based on the story of two men, Piers Cruickshanks and Siseko Ntondini, who competed in the 2014 Dusi Canoe Marathon. The NGO Heartlines, which uses storytelling as a way to help transform behavior, felt the story was perfect for their campaign, What's Your Story?
So Heartlines was looking for a story which would show when two people from very different backgrounds get to know each other a bit better, listen to each other's stories. How, by doing that, it really leads to greater understanding and, in the long run, trust. We'd raised the money for a film that would be part of a campaign around this whole idea, and it fell through. And so we were really chuffed when this story came to us, brought to us by Robbie Thorpe and Craig Fryman.
The film had a very strange genesis because my producer Robbie got a call from these canoeists, and they had the story, sort of an older white guy and a younger black guy from very different circumstances who teamed up to do the doozy and had a pretty unusual and amazing experience. What was essentially Piers and Siseko's story needed external drama and more character drama, you know, so we took both of those characters and really moved them quite far from Piers and Siseko.
The genesis of the partnership between Piers and Siseko was the formation of the Soweto Canoe and Recreation Club known as SCARC, and its collaboration with the Dabula Manzi Club based at Emmarentia Dam.
Canoeing for me gave me a tremendous sense of fulfillment and well-being. When I started canoeing, there was pretty much, certainly in Gauteng, no black participation at all. And I just felt that after looking back at what it had done for me, I wanted to give back to people that I thought could really benefit from the sport in the same way.
We were in Soweto one cold winter's day, saw this piece of water at Power Park where the old, the huge big power pylons are, and says we could start a canoe club here.
And I felt that to give back to underprivileged kids that otherwise had little to do with their time, and starting this club, SCARC, the Soweto Club, was something that would be very meaningful in their lives. And it's gone from a development club to being the strongest club in Gauteng.
In 2006, I introduced into paddling with SCARC.
I can remember going there in the early days of the club. We'd paddle a time trial, and there'd be all these youngsters there. I can remember seeing these tiny little guys. I remember seeing Siseko as a little kid. He was probably 12 years old, and he was this short little guy. He used to sit in the boat. He was tiny, and he used to spin his arms round and round, and the boat was actually going really slowly.
Is this Duma? How you been, man? Okay. Didn't we used to call you something? Helicopter. Hey, helicopter. Hey, I just remember how fast this like used to be, huh? Blitz on the water.
For the purposes of the film, Siseko's character Duma had given up canoeing and was being drawn into a life of crime. Siseko's true story was one of steady progress through the ranks at SCARC.
Ukuhambeni kwexesha iSCARC sasifundisa sasisipha ama-lessons ukuba siqubhe nje kakuhle. Ekuhambeni kwexesha ndabona abantu abamnyama abenza lento. Ndaqala nami ndaba ne-interest yokuthi ndirese hard, nami ndikwazi ukuthi nami ndingakwazi ukuphumelela kule nto.
The obvious challenge with SCARC is that these kids can't swim and in fact very often have a fear of water. So before we can get them near a boat, one has to take them through the difficulty of learning how to swim. Those that get through first with their certificate then get onto the dam. They have to prove they can actually swim in the dam, and then getting them onto flat water and then onto the rivers. Get a kid who's got not much going on in terms of recreation entertainment into a river where he's bobbing along and racing is great. From there, the best ones get then taken to races and the program develops. Rainer Armdorf, who was really the guy that was with the kids and built it up, was so smart because he worked out what was fun for the kids and what they'd get out of it. So as soon as they were in a position to actually be safe and get into the canoe, he'd get them onto rivers.
I love mentoring these kids because I knew where they're coming from and to where they are now, and that interaction with the kids and how they look up to us, like myself and Koshi, like kids that grew up with Siseko, how they look up to him now.
I'm sort of like a mentor of the club and like teaching the kids what to do. It's like giving back to what has been given to me before. And it's like also to see the young stars getting out of the street, being involved in the sport and trying to further themselves with education and like making a difference in life.
When are you guys leaving for the Dusi?
Wednesday morning, fasting.
That's a Bugatti! Push it! Push it! Come! Hey, it's getting better, eh? I mean, it's not just me thinking he's getting better, he's actually getting better.
Ah, it's getting better.
Rotate, little man, rotate! Yes!
Fly! Paddle high! Dip in the water and swing! Huh? Fly!
Okay, easy, Tiger. Easy. You don't have to scare them, just motivate them.
The challenges were obviously the logistics, getting all the equipment that's required. What has assisted in that was with the early formation of SCARC at the Bulumanzi Canoe Club at Emerentia Dam. They got very involved and they actually adopted SCARC as a club.
The size of Bulumanzi was a pretty good kick-off point for SCARC because it is a big club. We have over 1,000 members and we have a fair stash of club boats and people that are prepared to give their time. The addition of the guys from Soweto Canoe and Recreation Club, it wasn't a burden at all. It was seen as something of a challenge and our size could adapt into it.
All the major sponsors that came were from the companies of members of the Bulumanzi Canoe Club. In terms of supplying nutrition, in terms of giving support, they really made the dream of creating true development and growth through sport a reality.
The next growth aspect of the club was these guys getting into the education side of the club. AdReach was and still is the first company to really sponsor and support the club, but it's ended up being quite a lot more than just a sort of monetary relationship. What's been great to witness is how these kids have come up and are actually adding proper value now to the company. And in fact, we've seen the full circle of grassroots development into a sport that's given them a discipline and a focus, an ability to set goals, and into studying their tertiary education. And now even beyond employment, we've got some of them we're setting up in the business.
iSCARC sinditshintshe kakhulu impilo yami ngoba ndikwazile ukufunda. Sindibonise nje ukuthi empilweni kwenzeka ntoni ukugwedla into kwa-achieve impilo yami kakhulu ngoba ndandingazi ukuba nami one day ndizoba yilawyer, ndandingazi ukuba one day ndizoyithatha imali yokuba ndifunde. Ekugwedleni ndancedela ndafumana ukufunda.
There have been other guys who developed in various different ways, not just in the sport itself, but through the exposure that the sport has given them to a tight-knit community where I think there are role models and where there are real opportunities created through the connection that happens through the sport.
It's not only in Gauteng that the sport has been transforming and also transforming lives. In KwaZulu-Natal, programs like Martin Dreher's Change a Life Academy has had a profound impact on the sport and the people involved.
With a lot of the paddlers, canoeing has done a huge amount for them. It's taken them out of their poverty. It's taught them discipline. It does have a significant impact on first of all, the individuals who take part, and then it spreads out into the community.
Androskepe noba ngenhleli nje ekasi ngizihlelele ningenzi next okanye kodwa ndibulela zona ngoba zandinceda zandikhupha ebunzimeni. Ndakwazi ukuphila, ndakwazi ukubona izinto ngaphandle, ndakwazi futhi ukubona abantu, ndakwazi ukuphuma ndibona izwe lonke, ndibe motivated, ndibe ne-attitude, ndibe ne-good behavior ngoba azifundisa ukugwedla qha, ziyanceda nendaweni zesikolo, ndakwazi ukufunda, ndiqhubekele phambili ngemfundo yami.
In 2013 Dusi, I had a disastrous race. I smashed my boat, ended up having to walk, carrying my boat to the finish. When I got there, it was almost dark. There were just a few officials there. Siseko was there waiting, and I remember him coming up to me and saying, "Why don't we do the race next year?" So I said to him, "Well, just give it some time and have a look around and see if you can't get someone better." But he was pretty insistent, and eventually I agreed, and I said, "Well, yeah, let's go for it."
Why do you want to do this race with me?
Because you're strong and you don't give up. And I want to be like that.
Ukugwedla no Piers kwakuyinto emnandi kodwa uphinde ngekho mnandi ngoba xa ndihamba naye abantu andaziwa ndithi xa ndiqhamuka kuthiwa uPiers uhamba nobani ngokuhamba nentwana nje encinci engawazi nokugwedla aba sobashiya.
We started off with myself paddling in front. I think it was just incredibly frustrating for Siseko sitting behind me. My stroke rate was too slow for him. I knew that individually we were good athletes and we were fast, but we somehow weren't tapping into our strengths and combining well.
What if we change?
Change what?
Maybe me in the front.
That's not what this is about, Duma.
Come on, we can just try.
The moment we swapped around, everything changed.
Things were going well for Piers and Siseko when they hit the first of a few major obstacles. Siseko developed a stress fracture in his leg. It seemed all was lost, but through the intervention of Dr. John Patricius and his zero-gravity treadmill, Siseko was able to carry on training whilst his fracture healed. They were ready to tackle the 2014 Dusi, but their challenges weren't over.
We started that 2014 Dusi. Siseko just had a brilliant start and he managed to get us right up into the top 10, probably about 10 minutes into the race. Siseko broke his paddle.
Basidlula bonke abantu besireyisa nabo ibhetshi yethu ebhetshi saba ngabantu bokugqibela.
That was maybe a point where I think we really came together as a team.
Shoot it! What? We'll never catch them! My leg's not feeling good! I don't know, man. Steve, look that dog in the eye! Good! Yeah, just keep left and hold on! Okay? Okay, let's do it! Let's man!
after that, we just had the most unbelievable race. We just went flying through the field.
Qhubeka ngerace saphuma unumber 13 ngo-day 1. Ku-day 2 saphuma unumber 8. Sahamba sayofinisha kahle futhi sibasivuyela abantu sayifumana ukugqiba kwethu unumber 8 no Piers. Ndandivuye kakhulu ngoba ndandiqala ukuba ku-top 10 yeduzi. Yintona ndiwisho ukuthi nami one day ndifuna ukuma nabo abantu abababizwa ku-top 10 abafumana imedali banikwe ii-prizes zabo.
It worked really well as a story, you know, because the initial story was pretty inspiring, and with a little bit more dramatic character work, you know, took both characters to sort of as far as we could take them, and all of those ingredients added up to a really powerful story. We battled to categorize it because in some ways it's a sports movie, but it's not really a sports movie. It's a drama that happens to feature the sport of canoeing. But really it's about a friendship between these two guys, and I guess their sort of struggles of trying to get to know each other.
It's been pretty amazing. Certainly for me, I always felt that Siseko had an interesting background and a very interesting story to tell.
There were a lot of things about it that really worked as a lovely metaphor for exploring, you know, some of the issues of South Africa and race and closing the gap and finding out a little bit more about each other. Sport is one of those things that creates its own language, which is one reason why sport is such a unifying thing in a country like ours, because we can all talk about soccer or rugby and we forget our differences and we talk about the sport.
Ukubona kwami imovie yami okokuqala ndandinervous ngoba yona ndithukile ukuthi bazothetha ezinye izinto endingazitshongo, kodwa ndayibona imovie itsho izinto nje nami endizaziyo, iveza izinto nami endikhule ngazo. Ikhona into abazitshintshile.
I think it was absolutely awesome that we could still be involved in the making of the film. There's a wonderful shot early on in the film where the main characters are getting in the boat for the first time, and you can see how they're loving the experience, especially Siseko's character, and you can see his passion coming through. And there's a shot where it's at sunset and the water's gold, and you see these guys doing the thing, and in the background Siseko and I are in the boat paddling behind them. Just for me it was such a symbolic moment. It's kind of a compliment to us that that shot is in there. I remember sitting on the bank of the Dusi. I was the stunt double for the actor who was in essence playing myself, and they were dyeing my hair and putting makeup on my skin and things to try and make me look more like myself.
When I saw that first cut of the movie, it was quite emotional because it captured more than I ever thought it would. It captured the sport, but it captured the change, it captured the cultural differences between us as people.
Watching the film has allowed me to sit back and take a look at our story really interpreted in a different way. That's enabled us perhaps to reflect on what it means in the greater context of our country and where we are. Sport definitely offers a mechanism by which people can learn from each other, come together, develop friendships. I think canoeing has really done that for me. I've experienced it.
Ngoku ndizibona ndiphumelele, ndigwedla kahle futhi ndiqhubeka nokugwedla, ndilo esebenza ekhampanini ephezulu, ndingumuntu nje ophila kahle, onomzi wakhe, onefamily, okwazi ukubeka ukudla etafuleni.
Something which for me has been absolutely fantastic to see is how the sport has changed since I've been taking part in it. Now I think the sport is completely multiracial. I think that's absolutely fantastic. The sport has become so much more professional. The top marathon canoeists in the world are in South Africa.
SCARC's been going now for 14 years, and I've seen it develop from pure sporting club to more of a youth development initiative, where the canoeing is in a way now secondary. The club's become a means to furthering their careers even. and it becomes really the cornerstone of a lot of these young people's lives.
It's a sport which is really setting the example in terms of development. I think it's really showing what can be done through sport.
If the sport could be an inspiration to other clubs, other sports, to get involved in the poorer clubs and have the same sort of experience that we had here, that would be a dream come true, I think.
You actually need to know each other's stories to be able to work together well, to be able to really pull together, as it is in the movie, the two guys in the same boat. It's a great metaphor for South Africa, that we're all in the same boat together, and if we learn more about each other, if we trust each other more, it can really lead to a transformed South Africa.
Bunji, you start in 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go. Duma and Steve. 3, 2, 1, go.
khona isisho bekathanda ukusisho once idusi uyenza kayi-1 uzizwa ngathi ayikho into engakuhlula emhlabeni.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! That's like a machine. He's won 9 golds in the Dusi. Next year I want to do the race. Maybe I can do it with you. Why don't you partner with this Duma kid? I mean, he's seriously talented. Should have seen him when he was younger. Didn't we used to call you something? Helicopter. Hey, helicopter. This guy is good, man. He just needs a break. What's up, man?
Hey, man, I'll tell you one thing, Mr. Canoe. What can you do about Kren? He was a fella la.
Ngathina myasidla uBans daily thina kubamba athletes.
Umuntu ufuna ukuphila impilo yakho ngesibaba.
Ngiyabona man. Usho ukuthi wena ufuna umngane ozokuthatha lise phezulu. Akubuyisa kushayise phansi wena etakeni.
What are you doing, Jobo? What do you want to do?
I want to be a somebody.
It's me, Steve. It's Duma.
I wanted to talk about canoeing.
We can try. I'm not saying it's going to work or anything. We can try.
Trust me, I'm scared of those things.
What's it gonna do to you?
Bite me. You white people, you call your dogs nice things, with fluffy. Me, where I come from, you call them Hitler.
Stand my shoulder! Don't force it, man. We were hopeless. I've done 15 flippin' doozies. How many you done? You pee your mouth!
This is not okay. I think that we should see a psychologist.
Why do you want to do this race with me?
You're strong, and you don't give up. And I want to be like that.
ngakhohlwa ukuthi uyinike uNkulunkulu lento and into oyinike uNkulunkulu akekho umuntu ozoyithatha.
You're the one who said we must become like one person, and we're not. Is that the ocean? It's the first time I see it.